Well, I guess we're live now, right, ladies?
I think so.
Hi, everybody. This is Carrie Roan from Basic Brooks, and I've got my partners Kimmy and Betsy with me today.
Hey, hey.
And we've got an awesome guest, Kara Self. Hi, Kara.
Hey, y'all.
Thanks so much for being with us. And I know Dana is watching on Facebook, so thank you, Dana. Kara, why don't you introduce yourself to us? Tell us what business you own and who you are, and give us like a general background.
Okay, so my name is Kara Self. I own Inspired Events by K. Michelle. So, what I do in my business is I hand paint, seal, and cure glassware. So, what that is I paint glassware like wine glasses, beer pints, vases, planters, things like that, and still and cure the paint on it so you can actually use it. So, if it's like putting art on a wine glass or something like that, you can actually drink from it. So, it's not just for decor. And from that, I host paint parties. So you can have a night with your girlfriends or like a bridal party, something like that. And I'll come to you and have a paint party at your house or venue. And I'll also come to businesses and do like collaborations. So bring people to your venue and have like a ticketed event.
Ooh, that would be fun. That'd be a lot of
Yeah.
fun to do.
Yeah, it's super fun. And I also do have a few roles in the community. I'm the director of community events at Capital City Chamber of Commerce, and I'm the program coordinator for Her Business is Bloomin' for Women Wednesdays.
So you're busy, is what you're saying.
Yes,
In
I
some,
am.
to sum it up,
Yes.
you're very busy. So I actually have a couple of your glasses somebody gave me for my birthday one year, for Christmas one year, and they're beautiful. Like I'm even scared to use them. I know I can use them, but I'm scared to use them because they're so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So how did you get into doing what you do?
So it's very a funny story. Whenever COVID was almost over, I had a few girlfriends over for a little Super Bowl get together, and there was like four of us. And I was like so excited to have girlfriends over. I was like, I'm gonna paint their names on their wine glasses for the night.
Yeah.
So they came over and I did that because I've always been like super artistic. And obviously at the end of the night, the paint just washed down the drain when I went to, clean up everything. Well, I was like, it would be cool to learn how to like keep paint on glassware. And that's how Inspired Events was born. I taught
So
myself how to
yeah,
still
so I
and
was about
cure
to
it.
say, so you're self-taught. You didn't like get a
Yeah,
master's in fine arts or anything like that. Wow, that's really neat.
no. Mm-mm. So yeah, I've been in the service industry for about 20 years at this point. So bartending, serving, things like that. And I'd already kind of, with COVID and all and missing, being out of work and this and that, I'd already went back to school for entrepreneurship. So I'd planned on, just doing like event planning, things like that. And so it kind of just turned and went in another direction.
So how did you parlay kind of a little bit of a hobby, a little bit of a cutesy craftsy thing into a very successful business? Because there's a lot of people that don't know how to do that, myself included.
Right. So basically, just taking, I think, my knowledge of being in the service industry for so long and like already knowing like a background in events and things like that, already going to school for entrepreneurship, and then just tying all of that together. And I kind of, whenever COVID had hit, I had long periods of time when I was out of work. I had been at Cool Beans for 5 to 6 years. So we had, months of time where we were out of work. So I'd kind of taken that step of, hey, nothing's really in my own hands at this point. If things happen in the future, I don't have control of, what happens to me. Somebody else does. So I'd already made the decision, I don't have any degrees at this point. I was 36 at the time, and I'd actually started watching Jimmy Fakes It's Come Back Stronger series. So, and I have on my little piece of paper here, I'd made my mission statement that my mission in life was to empower women from tough and humble backgrounds to grow into successful entrepreneurship. So this was almost to the date. This was September of 2020. So this was almost 2 years ago. So I went back to school. I had 2 years to finish my bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship, And I decided to build my business as a blueprint for women who may have felt like the cards are stacked against them, or, they came from a place that they didn't have financial support, spousal support, things like that. And I was going to grow and build my business without having loans or having, a big support system, and do it while getting my education. So then whenever I mentor other women, it would all tie in together.
Wow, that's so impressive.
And now I'm literally 4 weeks away.
Geez, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dana's got a question. She wants to know if you've ever done a Rat Pack themed party.
A Rat Pack theme party?
Yeah.
No, but I can do anything.
Okay, cool. All right, that's awesome.
Yes, I can do that for you, Dana.
Hey, so Denisha has joined us. Denisha is a longtime friend of Dana and I, and a former client of Dana, and now she's one of our family members here at the firm. She works with all of us at Basic Brooks. So hi, Denisha.
Hello.
Do you have any questions for Kara about what we've talked about so far?
Yes, I do. I was reading your Bradfordville Bugle article that they did, and you said something that I struggle with. You was talking about how you thought your biggest supporters would be your friends and your family and people you know. How do you put that to the side? Because me, I'm the type, you didn't share my post, I'm not sharing yours. So how do you put that to the side and be like, you know what, even though they may not be, I'm going to still support and go out there and promote others? It's kind of like you're putting yourself, to the back burner and you're thinking about others. And sometimes that's not easy to do because you think that your biggest supporters are going to be, the people your family and your friends.
Well, they should be. So what did I miss? Because I didn't see that. So is there something that happened where
it was on her Facebook page? I had went to her Facebook page to kind of like brush up, and I seen that she had shared that article, and so I was reading it, and that kind of stuck out. She was saying, how when she went in, she thought, oh, I just knew I was going to have the support, and she realized, my biggest support is going to come from people I don't know, strangers. So I was just wondering, how do you not focus on that the people you thought was going to help you are really not the ones that are there for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Wow, what a great topic to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, the way that I overcame that, and like the article that I wrote on that was whenever I started painting glassware, I thought that my aunts, my cousins, my high school friends, everybody was just going to line up and want to buy a glass from me, and it wasn't the case. And the way I actually overcame that is the realization that it's actually like just a human nature case. It's not personal, because it's more so that whenever you're doing something like for yourself, and especially in like the entrepreneur world, it's not that they don't want to support you. I personally feel that maybe, that they're doing a different lifestyle, or they're not able to maybe chase their dreams in the way that they want. So it's maybe subconsciously they're not supporting you the way that you would think they would. That it's not even maybe intentional, but it's kind of like, well, if you go out and succeed and can do this while I'm maybe, stuck in just doing the same thing over and over, or maybe a rut, then subconsciously me supporting that kind of, I can't do it. If I support you doing it, then it's just human nature, I think, kind of that, that if they're stuck and them supporting you, maybe they, they don't get it. They're not on that level of thinking.
Right.
I guess, I'm the type of person that when somebody succeeds at something like that, I'm so excited for them. Like, I want to share in it. I want to hear about it. I want to buy it. I want to see it. Like, it just makes me happy to see somebody, especially somebody like you who go, does it all by themselves with no support. You know what I mean? Like, that makes me an even bigger cheerleader for you. So I'm surprised to hear that people get, I don't know, like jealous in a sense. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised.
I think it's just an elevation of thinking, though. And I think it's maybe potentially certain people, like if you're coming up from a certain level of thinking, maybe where you are, and then where, like if you're in a you come from somewhere that's more of a humble background, or then if you're coming up trying to do better, those people aren't thinking like you are.
Right.
So that's more the case of that.
Well, I'll stop doing all the talking and let Betsy or Kimmy, if you guys have questions, just pipe right in. Betsy, I see your new headphones.
Oh, every week, baby.
Are those your Beats? Are those your Beats?
No, these are not my Beats. My Beats are at home. These are my work headphones. So you like them? Should I bedazzle them?
You have to bedazzle them. They should be like pink and sparkly.
All right, I'm going to use my firm credit card, get some rhinestones. That's the plan. So, hey, Kara, I have questions about your parties that you do. Now, are these, we want more information. Okay, so are these like kid parties, grown-up parties, all of the above?
So normally grown-up parties, whenever I do like ticketed events, if people have children coming, I'll bring like little wooden pieces or canvases for children to paint. But if I'm coming to your home, it's normally grown-ups who do book for the glassware. But I mean, I can do mugs for children. So it's not saying that I haven't had children included. I just haven't booked a children-only party yet. Not that I couldn't, but.
So take us through a typical party when you've done maybe with a fun theme. What would it be like?
So one of the first ones I did that was like one of my super fun concepts, we did Say Yes to the Dress. So it was a bridal party, and they wanted to, the bride actually wanted to throw a paint party for the bridesmaids. So what we did was I do a pre-template on the glasses. So I did different dress designs in white, like on all of their glasses. And then they designed their own glasses or their own dresses on the glasses. And we had like a little competition on which bridesmaid dress was the best.
Awesome.
So,
that sounds really fun.
Yeah. And the bride herself, we just did her wedding dress on her glass.
That's great.
They have wine, and I can go ahead and do a glass for them to drink from that's already, sealed and cured with like their initial and all. So I can have one already made for them, and then they paint their own as well.
Awesome. So these glasses, after they're painted, can they go in the dishwasher?
Yes, and I say no. I say hand wash them just because I'd rather not. Like I have one right here with me. I've had this one for over a year, and I put it in the dishwasher several times and it's fine, but I always tell people to hand wash just to be safe.
Okay. That's a very important question.
Yeah. Everybody asks.
I want to have a party at the firm. Can we have a party at the firm?
Yes, what a great idea.
And we need cups.
Yeah,
we need
glasses.
A theme.
That'd be awesome.
What should our theme be? Everybody start thinking of a theme.
Yes.
Well, it'd have to be the Come Back Stronger theme because she got inspired by Jimmy and his Come Back Stronger group. So that would be a good theme.
Kara, have you read Jimmy's book?
I have not read the book yet.
It's great. It's great. I read his book and Dana's book. They're both really good.
The story and everything. Like I was on the Zoom in 2020 for whenever he was doing the Zoom series where we did, I think it was on Thursday afternoons. So I've heard a lot of his story and motivations. So
yeah, it's a great book.
Inspiration.
I actually got the audio book, and so I listened to it while I was driving, and it's in his voice. And so like listening to him read the book, it's like, oh gosh, this is cool. But I recommend it. Kimmy, did you want to jump in, or can I ask another question?
Yeah, let me jump in and then I'll give it back to you. Kara, I wanted to know about how you started your business, because I know your whole purpose was to start small and grow and then be able to be a model for other people. So can you give us some of the details of that? Did you start off with money you had saved up to invest in product, or how did you get it going?
So I had ended a long-term relationship, and I have a daughter. So we were kind of starting fresh, just me and her in our apartment. And, things were going on with COVID with my job and all being, going unemployed, back employed, unemployed, back employed. So I really just had that moment where I looked at myself and decided, what do you want to do? I could have stayed in the relationship I was in and just kind of settled and worked as I wanted to, and kind of stayed with the guy's retirement, like just stayed in my spot and, just settled. But I decided not to do that. And I wanted to really go for my dreams and be able to do it in a way that, hey, you can do it without just being on the coattails of a man, basically. You can, a lot of women, I feel like, just stay because of financial reasons. And so whenever I started it, I knew that, if I was going to do this, I was going to have to do it without, big finances and things like that. So it was a way to start where I didn't have to have a big, savings or anything. I started buying glassware in like little 12 packs, and it was not, a lot of money that I had to invest. And then after that, people start, whenever I started building my network and such, people started donating a lot of glasswares and things like that to me. So I was really just able to build them that way.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So start small and then you would reinvest your profits.
Exactly.
And just keep growing.
In a immediate way.
When did you decide to expand the business to doing paint parties? Was that right in the beginning, or did that come later on?
So that was after building my network. So I'd actually, because even though I'd been in Tallahassee for like 6 years, I didn't know anybody here. I'm from Georgia. And so whenever I started just painting the glassware, I decided to, try to go out and meet people. And I'd seen a flyer on the internet for Working Class Wednesday, and it was women in business. And it was one where Dana was actually speaking at. We had Dana, Renee Miller, Dr. Michelle, a lot of women were speaking at that one. And I mean, like I said, I didn't know anybody in Tallahassee. So I called Terrence Barber because his name was on the flyer. And I was like, and I was doing Easter baskets even then. I was like, I have these Easter baskets in this glassware. Could I vend at your event? He's like, yeah, come on. Like, yes, girl, bring your stuff. It'll fit in. Cause I was clueless. So it was at the Edison, and I went and I heard everybody speak, and, and people actually bought my stuff for the first time. And I was like, oh my God, people actually want to buy this. And from there, I just, I've met so many powerful women, some that are like my best friends now, and just was able to go to street markets and just grew and ended up, doing the pitch competition for Working Class Wednesday. I won that in November of last year, which got me a membership to Big Bend Chamber of Commerce. I won money. I won a spot on Conversations with Nicole. Katrina Tuggerson was the judge of that pitch competition, which now, I'm the director of community events for Capital City Chamber of Commerce. So her judging me at the pitch competition and then seeing my work after that all, ties back to just taking that first leap and calling, Terrence from seeing the flyer from Working Class Wednesday and really committing to building a network.
Yeah, putting yourself out there. And It's incredible to me. It's 2 years since you made that dream. And during COVID, COVID was a rough time for a lot of people. And you did the comeback stronger. You were like, all right, I've got a challenge. How can I pivot? And that's just really cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Yep, that's what I was going to say. Like Kimmy just said, is that you just went for it. And you just put yourself out there, which is hard to do, and it can be embarrassing and you feel insecure, but you just put yourself out there, and it's like it's snowballed on it, which is really neat.
Yeah. And the thing about it was, whenever I went in, I knew that the currency I had to work with was my energy, and that my genuine energy, and knowing that I may not have money to be able to finance certain things I wanted to do, but I have genuine care to help others, and I have a genuine energy to put out into the world. So that was what I worked with. And I know that other people can do that as well.
Well, you know what you said too to Kimmy, which I think Dana would be like over the moon about, because she loves kind of this topic, is that you also wanted to create financial independence for yourself. And that's such a huge motivator for women we need to be financially independent, because the world opens up to you if you're independent and not dependent on somebody and not dependent on a man for something, especially if you wind up getting in a relationship that you need to get out of. Maybe it's emotionally abusive, or it's just run its course and you need to move on, but it's hard to do that unless you're financially independent. So I think that's a big motivator as well. And it's like, you're so inspiring to people. And I hope a lot of people are listening or do listen once it goes up on YouTube, but that you can turn a passion that might seem small, or a hobby that might seem small, you can turn it into something big that creates that financial independence for you, if you just network and just have the courage to just take that step and put yourself out there and talk to people and network.
Right. That's exactly right. And you do have to put yourself out there, and you have to be able to not be afraid to talk to leaders and also listen to leaders. I've had plenty of times with, being an older lady, that I have to listen to people who may be younger than me, who, just know things more than I do. But you just have to be humble and understand that, you may be older at this time, but when you're successful, you're there. Or whenever, if I'm going to have my degree at 38 years old, but when it's done, it's done. Or if my business is successful at 40, it doesn't matter, because it's done then. So timeline doesn't matter at that point.
Right. And age doesn't matter either. You're never too old.
Right. Because when you have accomplished it, nobody's going to be like, well, at what age did you accomplish that? Because then they're just going to see you as a successful person.
Right. Right. And Dana's life ran that course as well. I'm sure, she was a paralegal when she had young children and wound up going back to law school when her children were older. But, obviously she's, one of the most successful lawyers in Florida, and you don't know what her course was leading up to, or what her choices were to live a more flexible life for her young children and then go back to school when she got older. So.
Right.
Kimmy, did I cut you off? I'm sorry. I think I barged in on your conversation.
No, you're good. I appreciate that. I did want to say, Kara, when you were talking about how sometimes your mentors can be younger, I was thinking about how I was interviewing a young woman on our Come Back Stronger show, and she knew everything about Instagram and like what time you're supposed to post things to get followers, and how you put audio over things. I felt like a dinosaur. I was like, oh man, technology has surpassed me, but it's true.
Yeah.
So Betsy, what did you want to say that Kimmy was going to throw it back to you for?
Well, first, I just want to know how it feels, or how it felt for you when the first person picked up your art and really liked it and paid you money for it. How did that feel?
It was awesome. I mean, just to, because anybody who does artwork, you feel like you don't know who's going to like what. And sometimes things will sit forever, and then it takes a certain person. But just to go to the first thing I went to, and to have somebody see value in something you create, because you're putting yourself out there whenever you create something. So it's always
and you're putting a little bit of yourself into everything you create. Like that's what art is. It's your baby, kind of.
Right.
And that had to be just a great feeling.
Right.
But tell us about the Bradfordville Bugle.
Yeah, so I met somebody networking, Justice. She does advertising for the Bradfordville Bugle, and she introduced me to the editor, and I offered to write an advice column about entrepreneurship. And just, I decided, based on the way, maybe lawyers or people who are business consultants, I decided to name it Your First Consultation is Free. So it's just a little series called Your First Consultation is Free, and it's going to be about probably 5 to 10 consultations with just different pieces of advice for entrepreneurs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it something you enjoy, and do you do it as a way to get your name out there and your business out there and also help people?
So, writing something that's always came very natural to me. I've had a few articles I wrote for Women Wednesdays, but those articles I can knock out in probably 15 minutes. So it's just something, I mean, I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. I'm passionate about helping other people. So it's just something I can really just put down pretty quickly. And anything I can do to help others, I'm always, down to go out and do it.
Do you guys remember when people had blogs and they would just like post on their
Yep.
blog and you could follow a blog? It seems like, I don't know, that ended, but people still have really good blogs that are out there and people follow. And it just seems to me like you're a person not only with a lot of energy, but ideas.
Yeah.
And so I think an entrepreneur, you got either a book in you or a really good blog about women's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Or TikToks.
I mean,
let's do Kara,
or
do some
TikToks.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make a TikTok. You'll have to ask Kimmy.
I'd rather watch Kara give like entrepreneurial advice in like a 30, 60, 90-second video than read. Like, I don't know that, like you said, blogs are kind of a thing of the past. I mean, I didn't even get into them when they were around, but
I'll have to get with the director of communications at the Capital City Chamber. He's really good at stuff like that. So maybe he'll help me out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let us know so we can follow your blog.
Right.
Hey, Kara, you were talking about Women Wednesdays earlier, and we all know what that is because we've, kind of been in it and we see it on social media, and we've had a couple guests on for Women Wednesdays. But can you tell anybody who's watching what it is and how to get involved in it?
Yeah, so Women Wednesday, it highlights women in business and just really as a support system to help women network and do different things in Tallahassee. What my role is, I'm the program coordinator for Her Business is Bloomin'. So basically I have the signs for everybody, like you can pick up your sign that says you're a local woman in business, but I also highlight local women in business. So we're on kind of a little break for summer, but I don't remember which month it was, but the first one that I did was Chantel with Remedy Spa. And basically we just had a whole celebration for her and her business at Rabbit Creek Market. So every month or every 2 months, we'll be highlighting a woman in business and just have a celebration where she can invite her friends, family, her network, and just come and let people, just show her love. So next up, we'll have LaCora Hansford with Gorgeous and LaCora and Company. So she'll be coming up next, but we just, celebrate them in business.
Where can people find how to get involved in Women Wednesdays?
So it's womenwednesdays.com. So you can just go on there and there's a directory that shows all different women in business and you can sign up. There's articles that women have written, just a bunch of cool stuff.
And so I think it's on social media too, Facebook group and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So I have a question for you. What were some of the fears or some of the setbacks that you had along the way, and how did you overcome those things?
I think every person in small business, there's always want to give up because you work a lot. There's not really, there's nobody else helping you. There's nobody, like, if something has to be done, you're the one doing it. Like, especially with me and my glassware, if I'm going to a street market or if I'm, setting up at a vendor event, I was living on the 3rd floor of my apartment complex. So it was me bringing all the glassware down, me, putting it in my car, me loading up. If you don't sell anything that day, then you're loading everything back up and, just not quitting, just saying, I'm just not doing this anymore. So that's the part that you probably deal with once every week or so. You're like, I'm just not going to do this anymore. So, and besides that, there's, a fear of just thinking that nobody likes your stuff. Right. You're like, all of a sudden you're just like, nobody likes this. I'm not going to do it anymore. but you know, just having faith and trust, that's kind of my mantra. So if I ever get in a spot where I feel like I want to give up, or I feel like something's going wrong, I always just take myself back to, you know, my center, and I just say, have faith and trust, and I move forward, and it's worked out so far.
Yeah, I imagine it's hard, like at the art shows, sitting there and kind of watching people walk by. And sometimes you probably have a really successful show, and other times everybody just walks by and you're just sitting there like, oh, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, yeah. And especially if it's something that they're going for that I feel is like not as artistic, or, you know, not the thing that I feel like they should be buying, and they're just walking by me, I'm like, no. So yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, Carrie, because now every time I go to some kind of art show, I'm going to feel like I have to stop everywhere. So nobody gets their feelings hurt.
I do. I'm that type. When I go to the Arts in the Park at the chain of in Tallahassee, I'm always like, hey, I love your stuff. Like, I always try to at least say something nice, because I feel so awkward. Like, I love looking at all of it, you know, but I can't necessarily buy it.
Yeah, just throw everybody a beautiful work when you walk by or something.
Okay. Right. Because up until now, I never thought about that. And now I'm going to be like, I have to say something to everyone.
Yeah.
It's cool. Thank you. I mean, this is how we grow. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. How did you go from the doing, you know, making the glasses and stuff, and then moving over to the promotion? Like, let's say somebody like me, if I wanted you to promote my business, is that just like a part of your networking, you know, what you do for the people that you're networking with, or is that something that I can pay you to like host my event every day for a certain amount of days?
Yeah, I just promote people just because I love people, and I just, you know, the only thing that comes with like promotion when it comes like monetarily is collaborating with businesses on like ticketed paint parties. But that's not anything where anybody pays me or I pay them. That's just a collaboration, because it can bring revenue to their business, and obviously, you know, the paint party aspect brings revenue to me.
Gotcha.
So besides that, anything that I post or share is just something that I really see value in. So there's been plenty of times when people think I'll, you know, work for something or am affiliated with something. And I'm like, I'm really not. I believe in this, or, you know, I know these people and I know they're good people and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kara, I had a question.
Oh, I was going to say, Denisha, what you got cooking over there? I feel like you got some.
I had to be ready. I was like, they might need me, so I got to be ready.
Yeah, I love it.
I am digging having Denisha on.
Oh, I love it. Kara, I wanted to ask you, in terms of expansion, are you trying to expand outside of the Tallahassee and local markets by advertising online or things of that nature?
Great question.
I don't necessarily have a plan right now, because the next thing I was planning on doing is launching a mentoring program next year. So for women, it's an entrepreneurship mentoring program. So that would be my next step. I really love Tallahassee and the local community here. I'm from South Georgia, which it's not, I mean, I'm from Tifton, Georgia. It's not far away, but it's a totally different place. So I like being here, and I like this community, and I like the people who are here and the different culture that's here. So I haven't really thought about that part of like expanding the actual like paint parties. I mean, I've done stuff around, you know, in the area, but not necessarily.
And I was thinking about listing your products on, oh gosh, I don't even know the sites anymore. eBay,
like Etsy, and
Etsy, yeah.
The thing with that is like shipping is on, like glassware can be kind of tricky.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So
do you paint mugs?
Yeah, or like coffee mugs, or like glass mugs.
like coffee either.
Well, I do glass mugs.
Okay.
So
So do you like, how do you learn what to paint? I mean, do you like watch YouTube videos, or how are you learning to be an artist and getting better and better as being an artist?
I just paint. I don't.
You're just naturally talented.
Yeah, I mean, I usually, if people request certain things, I'll, just look into it or just try my best or just practice, things like that.
Wow.
And a lot of times I've kind of
been an
pivoted
artist?
more. I've always been creative, so yeah. And I've pivoted more now to paint parties where people are more interested in painting their own art now. So
I don't want to paint my own glass. I would like for you to paint it.
yeah, people like to paint their own now. So but
Yeah, I
there are
definitely
people
want.
who,
I definitely want a glass that's beautiful, and then I'll paint one for fun, like while I'm drinking wine. But that's not going to be a very beautiful product. Let me just be real.
right.
So,
Yeah.
do you think? I love the fact that you want to mentor other women, through the Bradfordville Bugle, and then through your, upcoming kind of mentorship. But like I guess my question is, do you feel like women face different obstacles in starting their businesses and being entrepreneurs that men don't face? Like maybe with the ease of getting financing, or with the ease of the social network, guys are on the golf course all the time doing business.
Right.
Like, do you think that women face different hurdles than guys do?
Well, I personally, the women that I want to mentor are women who, like I said, are from tough and humble backgrounds, but also feel that cards are stacked against them where they may be single moms. They may not have spousal support. They may not have education. They may not have had parents that had education. So, whereas, or they may easily fall into traps of like the online mentor who says, oh, I can help you get rich quick or fix your credit, things like that. Because, and that was why I went ahead and got my bachelor's in entrepreneurship, to kind of have that background, because I feel a lot of women are easy prey. And I feel that there's a mentoring program needed that includes life coaching, that includes, how to build your business like long term, that you don't have to do it fast, that you don't have to go and get those loans like right off the bat, that you know how to have credit and not just do a quick fix, so they don't just like fall prey to all of the people who are kind of preying on them. So
if somebody does need to borrow money to finance their startup, what would you recommend they do?
I mean, I would definitely recommend them going the route of like local help, like credit unions and, places, Chamber of Commerce, places like that, to help them get the right kind of advice, not, going online and applying for crazy loans. So, and that's kind of the way I feel like people are getting preyed upon. So you have a attractive person online saying, hey, I can fix your credit here and I can give you $5,000. But they don't know how to have fixed credit and then continue to, work with that credit that is all of a sudden fixed,
Right.
because they've never used it right or properly. So
what are the other like tidbits that you learned along the way that you'll be offering in the Bradfordville? What's it called? Bradfordville Blues?
Bugle.
Bugle. I'm thinking of the club.
I talked about networking. I talked about, everybody kind of being on their own, like their own path and their own journey, and kind of not looking at other people and seeing, trying to compare. I don't know what else I'm going to talk about. I kind of just, sit down and see what's coming next. So we'll see, I guess.
Where can we find it? Where is it going to be online? So
it is online, and I know there is a paper copy that goes out as well. It's one of the it's a new newspaper, but it's one of the community newspapers. So I'm not exactly sure. I get mine special delivered, so I'm not exactly sure where the drop-off locations are. But if you get in contact with Justice Barrington, she can definitely help you out with that one.
Cool. Why don't we circle back around? You want to start, Kimmy, if you have any other oh, Betsy's got a question. Betsy's got her hand raised properly.
That's right. So I've always thought, to your point about educating women about the right way to get credit, the right way to fix credit, the right way to borrow money to start a business. I've always thought that would be such a great class for high school.
Right.
You know, don't make somebody go to college and major in entrepreneurship to learn all of that, because those are just basic life skills. And I think that could be important for women you were describing who, you know, who knows what their future really looks like. But if we can give them this education sooner and earlier, maybe they can see that this might be an option for them if they have something they're really good at or passionate about, and there's a right and a wrong way to go about it. And I think it all just kind of comes together with finance, you know, basic finance. What is a loan? What does interest mean? What is compound interest? You know, all of these things that we teach kids some of it, but like applying that knowledge to real life and a future would be awesome.
Right.
So I'd like to nominate you to do that at local high schools.
Yeah, definitely. And
I think
even,
you'd be
I mean,
great.
there's so many more dynamics as well. Like if we don't understand that we have women who are 20 to 30 years old that do not have the upbringing that everyone else has when it comes to even business etiquette, or have children that they're raising in a way that they were raised, that nobody's going to get ahead because they don't know basic life skills or basic, you know, like you're saying, basic things with credit, just some basic all over skills. So instead of just focusing on like, okay, well, we have a business class or we have this, we really need something that kind of captures every aspect of, you know, what it takes to get ahead.
So Betsy, my boys go to Florida Virtual School, and I just registered them yesterday for classes. And my son Gabriel, that's going into the senior year, they offer economics with personal financial planning in there, and then they offer like a regular financial planning class. And then I saw that they have all these other electives: leadership, career research, and studying. So anybody that's watching that doesn't have those offered at their regular curriculum, you can add Florida Virtual School in, like as a summer class for your kids or as an additional class to your regular school. So as your littles get older, definitely look into that if you don't see that on whatever, you know, high school that they go to, because you can do it with FLVS as an additional class or whatever.
I love it. I love it, y'all. This is my soapbox, has been for years. Like, we should not be graduating our kids from high school and saddling them with student loans when they don't really understand it. Let's teach them.
Right.
Well, they even have a parenting class. So like, not to get way off topic, but like, my God, like somebody's got to, a lot of kids need to be taught how to parent. And I would have, I remember we had a class where you put like you have like an egg to carry around. And if you break the egg, you're a shitty parent. Right? Like, you gotta find ways with your partner or your boyfriend to like take care of this egg. But like, I don't know, it just seems like I noticed that yesterday, that it seems like the curriculum has evolved, at least from when I was in school, to maybe offer more practical stuff now.
Yeah, it's needed.
We didn't have eggs. We had bags of flour, like paper bags of flour that we dressed up as a baby. And they just assign you somebody to be your partner to like raise the sack of flour child. Oh man, I just had flashbacks. That was crazy. Did you drop your egg?
Me? No, I didn't drop my egg. No.
Okay, good. So you said that, I felt like some trauma coming from you. Like there was a story there.
Like, now that we're on like this parenting discourse, I mean, you know, you don't really know how to be a parent until you are one. And like, I actually
don't know.
Right. I actually apologize to my kids sometimes. And Denisha, I want to know if you do the same thing, because I think you're a really good parent. But like, and you've got teenagers like I do, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm so sorry. I've never been the mom to a 17-year-old boy before. I'm doing the best I can. And I'll actually say that to them because I'm like, this is a team approach. Like, we're on the same team. We're trying to grow up together, kind of, you know, even though I'm 47, I still don't know what the heck I'm doing. Like, so I don't know. Denisha, did you ever say
Yes.
that to your team?
I had to apologize to Tremaine last night. He came home from work and he was like, Mama, did you start the wash machine? And I was like, you know what? I didn't. What was I doing? Why did I even forget? And it was like, I forgot. I was like, I am so sorry, but I forgot. But it's like your mind be on 1,000 other different things. It was something that he needed. And I was like, my mind was so, I remember you telling me, and now that you telling me, asking me that I did it, but I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. I
We
think
do
that's
the best
okay.
we can.
I think parenting has evolved to the place where it's okay to like let the kids know that we make mistakes.
That we're wrong, right? And I try to do that too. Because
Kara,
with
how
his,
is sorry,
I was gonna say with his decision after school, I told him what I wanted him to do. And so I had to check myself and say, this is not my path, this is his path. So I have to support him and let him know, if you need me, I'm there for you, but have a plan. Make sure that when you go, you have a plan. But I was at work and he was calling me and I was like, okay, you didn't handle that right. So I had to fix it and say, you know, just because I don't think what you want to do is an ideal plan, that doesn't mean that's not the right plan for you. So like you said, as parents, we still don't know. I got a 21-year-old and a 18-year-old, and I'm still learning.
Yeah. Kara, how old's your daughter?
She'll be 14 in October.
So you know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mine will be 13 in November. I have a daughter. So they're about a year apart. I couldn't believe the hospital let me take her home. I was like, are you kidding me? They're at a fun age, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the car where we have our issues on the way to school. I feel that we have to have our apologies.
Yeah. You just love her through it. That's what I keep telling myself. Just love her
so
through
how are you empowering your daughter as she's going through that sensitive age of a 14-year-old? And Betsy, that's a good question for you too, since your daughter is 13. How are you guys empowering your girls to be independent and strong women?
Communication. And just like you said, like apologizing when needed and keeping communication open and just basically explaining things. Like, we have open communication. I let her, you know, tell her feelings, and she knows at the end of the day that I love her for her and that she can tell me anything she needs to. And just, you know, we're best friends, enemies, basically. I embarrass the crap out of her, but she knows that I got her back.
I embarrass mine too. That's a new thing. And I realized
that's like my favorite pastime, you guys, is embarrassing my kids. It's awesome, especially when you're driving, like with boys, when you're driving in the car, and if I can dance and sing at the same time when I'm driving, they're mortified, and it just makes me do it more.
Mine says the radio is too loud, but they can play it loud. But when I play it loud, why you got it up so loud?
Right.
When I'm listening to yacht rock and singing along, and they're like, "Mom."
Right.
I just heard a really good interview with Kevin Hart, and he's talking about his kids, and he's a hilarious comedian, and he's talking about how he has this time where his kids can come to him and say whatever they want to say and however they feel. And he promises not to get angry, not to curse. The kids can't curse either when they talk to him, but he wants to like create this neutral zone where they can express how they are feeling in a safe environment. Even if they're going to upset you, you're not going to get upset back. So I'm going to try doing that.
Great idea.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I have that kind of communication with my kids, but I will definitely get upset if they tell me, you know, I just curb checked your car and I just busted your rim on the car. Like, but I should try to create that type of zone, I think. Well, Betsy, how are you empowering your daughter?
You know what it is with the communication? Like, the biggest impediment to communication is fear of disrupting that relationship. So providing that neutral, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. So I empower her, I think, through lots of pep talks, honesty, about what the world expects of her, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Mhm.
You know, I try to teach her that as she gets older, she's got to become less and less dependent on me and her dad, and more, you know, handle more of her life on her own. Now we're always going to be there, and we're going to be, you know, checking her text messages and things like that. But as far as getting her homework done, submitting her assignments, which they do online now, and they've all got these Chromebooks. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of, but mom's already got a full-time job, so this is your job, and sticking to that. And so she gets used to being independent and empowered and in charge of certain things in her own life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So my daughter, when it comes to,
Well, I don't know if I'm doing it right at all. That's just what I do.
well, I like that, because when it comes to my daughter's grades, she's very, very smart, but she has a lazy streak. So she knows that she has to keep A's and B's. And if she falls under a B, then I'm in her, what I say is I'm in her business. And if she don't want me in her business and making her study and checking her homework and all that, she has to say A's and B's. So I give her that little bit of lenience with the B's, because I know she's a straight A student, but she's A's and B's, or I'm in her business. She got to study. She has to, you know, I check her homework and all that stuff. So, but it works because she keeps her A's and B's, and, you know, she knows that standard. So
she does not want mama up in her business.
exactly.
Well, we've only got a couple minutes left, so why don't we go around one more time with any questions or closing comments? Kimmy, do you want to start?
Yeah. Kara, thank you for being on. I just want to give you a minute if there's anything else you wanted to talk about and express about encouraging women and entrepreneurship. I just want to kind of give you the floor for a minute.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank y'all for having me today. And if there's, you know, anybody who's watching who has felt discouraged as an entrepreneur, or, you know, just as a woman in general, you know, navigating the world, just keep the faith and know that you can do it, and don't give up.
Is that your number, Kara, that's in the background so people can
call it is. Look at there. Oh, look at there. Yep, it is.
Do you recommend any books or any websites or any books or anything that somebody can go to that you've been to that you found helpful?
Oh man, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but anybody can definitely reach out to me on Facebook, and I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about any aspect of their business or bring them to any networking things I do. So, you know, just no creepy like stalker people, but you know, so but you know, anything like that, I'm more than happy to help.
That's awesome. What about you, Denisha? Do you have any kind of closing questions? Or
Yeah, I do. I kind of want to piggyback on what you was talking about when you were saying how you focus on the women and how you're going to do the women mentorship. I was wondering, when you first started out, was that something that when you came out, you said, you know what, I'm going to only focus on women, or was this like a coincidence? Was it something that you seen that, you know, women are mostly, you know, the people that I network with, so that's what I'm gonna do my focus on? Was it like a coincidence that you focus on the women, or was that something that you came out and said, you know what, I'm gonna do this strictly for the women?
I just felt like, since it was my path and my journey and what I was going through, that it would be the best thing to focus on helping is what I was going through. So,
gotcha. So if a man wanted to be mentored, you wouldn't say, well, I only do the women. You would include them also?
No, I definitely help out.
Okay.
Just not as much fun now.
I know.
They already have a lot of help.
Right.
Yeah, right. They're kind of already starting off well ahead. So
right.
They're all set.
Betsy, you're up.
Oh, well, I'm just so glad to have met you. This has been really fun. I'm gonna check out your social media and take some of your tips on networking. I just want to say the thing again about a blog or a book, because, you know, we've been here an hour and you've dropped a whole bunch of pearls of wisdom on us. So I think someday for you, that might be in the cards. But thanks for coming on. It's been fun.
Yeah, I agree. Kara, where can everybody find you? Where can our listeners and our viewers find you on social media, website, address, phone number? Give us all your deets.
So my Facebook page for my business is Inspired Events by K. Michelle. My website is www.inspiredeventsTally.com. And then my personal Facebook is Kara Michelle Self, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions there as well. And my Instagram is Kara_inspires.
Yay, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest today. It's really been fun.
I had fun. Yeah.
And I agree with Betsy. Like I definitely think a book or a blog or a TikTok channel is in your future for sure.
All right. Sounds good. I'm down for it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks so much.